world ain't what it seems, is it, Gunny?
No, sir.
You keep that in mind. The moment you think you got it figured, you're wrong.
I went downstairs, I was leaving the Pentagon, and an officer from the Joint Staff called me into his office and said, I want you to know, he said, sir, we're going to attack Iraq. And I said, why? He said, we don't know. He said, I said, well, did they tie Saddam to 9/11? He said, no. He said, but I guess they don't know what to do about terrorism, and so they think, but they can attack states, and they want to look strong, and so I guess they think if they take down a state, it will intimidate the terrorists. And you know, it's like that old saying, he said, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem has to be a nail. Well, I walked out of there pretty upset, and then we attacked Afghanistan. I was pretty happy about that. We should have. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, oh, sir, he says, it's worse than that. He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office that says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. They wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down, make it under our control.
Far too long now, and the rest of Congress, including the executive branch of government, along with the judicial and legislative, have turned your back on the American people and their core values and principles. I can say with great confidence and speak on behalf of all Americans that your actions against this country are treasonous. All of you, against the will of the American people, have aided and abetted the enemy. You and the rest of Congress, including the President of the United States, have went against the will of your people. In Syria, regardless of your position and vote, whether it is a yes or no, is still a political smokescreen. I believe wholeheartedly you do not care about the will and well-being of the America or its people. You lied to the American people about the chemical attacks in Syria. The American people know that it was our government that is most likely responsible. There is strong evidence, including video, that these attacks were carried out by Al-Qaeda, and you advocate starting a war, even maybe world war. President Barack Hussein Obama has been supporting terrorism. The United States has been funding and aiding its organizations, including the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda, for many years now. The same enemy we're supposed to be defeating on the battlefield. At least one country in this world stood up against this government terrorism that you guys support in Egypt. The people of Egypt throughout Mohammed Morsi, which Obama supported as well, as countless Christians have lost their lives under evil people such as this. You swore an oath to protect us and protect from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. The simple irony is the domestic enemy now in this country is the people and government of the United States. And McCain and you and the rest of our leaders are accountable for their actions. It's too bad someone like me is not in office to hold you accountable, because if I was in a position of power or authority, I would have you all arrested and tried for treason against my country under the grounds of 18 U.S.C. 2381 Treason U.S. Code. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason. That is the code. The American people are sick of it. This country rose up against you recently. The ratio, hang on, I have a right of free speech, I can finish. The American people opposed to going to war with Syria, which includes many Marines and other veterans by the thousands, was 499 to 1. That is 99% of the people of this country. So if you and the rest of this government are truly for the American people and representatives of us, I suggest this time you listen, because nobody wants another war or strike in Syria or anywhere else. Bring our brothers and sisters home.
Yes, ma'am. You are very eager.
Hi, Senator McCain. My name is Jumana, and I met you years ago, and I've always been a loyal supporter of you. I've always been a loyal supporter of you since the Keating 5. I go that back. Anyway, the point is right now, no one's denying there's a lot of atrocities being committed in Syria. whether on the rebel side or whether on the other side as well. The point is, there is a good option to what could happen in Syria. For me to listen to you saying there is no good option, I refuse to believe that. The good option right now is to take Saudi Arabia and Iran and force them to stop supporting the two sides in Syria. And you could do it. You can do it by diplomacy and negotiation, not bombs, Senator McCain. We cannot afford to shed more Syrian blood. Personally speaking, I have a cousin who is 18 years old, just was killed 10 days ago by the so-called rebels and Al-Qaeda, and they're not Syrian. They're coming to Syria from all over the world to fight this. We cannot afford to do that. We cannot afford to turn Syria into another Iraq or Afghanistan. I beg you. My family is there. There's so many good Syrians. The majority of the Syrian people want to save their country. And you need to also listen to the majority of the American people who do not want you to go there. This is not an issue that we could take so lightly, Senator McCain. Enough is enough. We do not want another engagement in the Middle East. We don't want Al-Qaeda to take over. We don't, whether you like Bashar al-Assad or not, I am not a fan either. But at least he has a secular government going on over there. It is secular, Senator McCain. We are a minority over there. We are the minority Christians who are, unfortunately, by you and so many in the Senate, are just considering us as collateral damages. And I refuse to believe that. I refuse that, because I could trace my family's name to the Bible. We were there prior, from the beginning of humanity, we were there. And we refused to be forced to leave and flee and be considered a collateral damage.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your passionate plea. Thank you for your very compelling and emotional statement. And all I can tell you is that I too have been to Syria. I too know the people who are fighting there. I've met them, I know them, and I know who they are. And I know Syria well enough to know that it is a moderate nation. It is not a nation that will embrace these foreign fighters. But to say that Bashar al-Assad is anything but a merciless butcher, then we have a strong disagreement.
Images have emerged on social media purporting to show U.S. servicemen speaking out against a looming strike against Damascus. People in military dress are seen posing in front of cameras with signs saying that they didn't sign up to fight with Al-Qaeda in Syria. These pictures cannot be verified. The Pentagon is reportedly looking into the possible identities of those involved. For some perspective on that, I'm joined by Gordon Duff, a Marine Corps veteran and editor of the independent news website Veterans Today.
By this time, 13 years of war, people in the military have no faith in anything the government has to say at all. They're sick and tired of the war, and the government has no credibility with the rank and file in the military.
What do you make of the fact that Washington is backing Syrian rebels who are fighting alongside militant groups, some of them linked to Al-Qaeda?
You know, it's something that we are noticing every single day.
You're asking about the danger of escalation, really, with Russia and China. I think it's very, very serious. And I think the markets are telling us that. I think the price of oil is telling us that, because it's really a big thing. So you can't ignore that. No, I don't. I think it's a false flag. I think really, indeed, and it's big risk. This can escalate, and Russia could get involved. What if there's an accident and 100 Russians get killed by our bombs? Who knows? Some type of unintended consequences. Wars always expand.
We do not need a war in Syria. The war in Syria is a hoax. Just like the war in Iraq was a hoax under Bush, the war in Syria is a hoax under Obama. He's talking preemptive strike, the same as Bush. He's talking sending in troops, the same as Bush. The difference is that once we start a war in Syria, it's not just a war with Syria. Russia will be called into Syria's defense.
Ultimately, I do not want any intervention anymore in the Middle East. All wars are lies, and I've been there firsthand to see it, and it's not good.
So the whole idea behind this war policy, make us believe that he didn't start the war, which is what he's doing by preemptive executive orders or whatever. He is the problem. Obama needs to be removed, and people need to understand that this puppet needs to be taken down. He needs to be removed from office in order to stop this war.